Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Paul Maganga. I'm a student of APU Year 3, and I'm a Bachelor in Tourism Management. I'm here to present, I'm a moderator of the webinar for stock market and trading globally. I've also coordinated this webinar with my colleagues who are Ms. Alisa Duane Barbie and Saad Ullah Khan from Pakistan, and Alisa is from Seychelles, sorry. Uh, we're here to present the webinar on stock market and trading globally. And we have our guest speaker, Mr. Hamad Iqbal, who is also a stock investor for 19 years. He's the biggest IT analyst and engineer at the Teradata company in the US. So I would like to invite Mr. Hamad Iqbal on this webinar, and can you proceed please with the presentation and tell us more about this stock market and trading globally. You're welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. So, starting my session today regarding stock market, as Andrew introduced me regarding what I have done from last 18 to 19 year in stock market, and now I will be starting my session. Our today's session covers majorly regarding how stock market works and how the strategy biggest investor comes in and build and get thing done in a good manner to achieve major or big success. So if I just cover the agenda, the second slide. So we will talk about the market, then traditional market, how it is that, and then IPO, what is IPO is, and then we will talk about dividends, capital gains, market players, how you get in, and the stock market profit method, how the stock market distribute the profit to you guys, and if you want to become an investor or you want to be interested in investing in stock. Then for a small overview of a single account, how your account will be created to any stock market, and we will reference one of them. And then a little bit talk about digital currency regarding Bitcoin and other stuff. So this is the agenda of today's webinar. So can you move on to next slide? So starting from stock market, let's first of all cover what the wealthiest people of the time have achieved. And as per my understanding, any wealthiest people cannot become world number one, world number, if I pick up the top 10 of the world, they must be investing in the stock market. The person I pick up, he has the major stakeholding of his wealth from stock market is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett used to say that once his baby girl born, he invested around $600 in the stock market of one of the stock. And what happened that after 20 years, it was around 10,000 times. 10,000 times mean 6,000 multiplied by $60,000. $600 multiplied by $60,000. So it is gone to that level or more than that, I think so. So if I just see what he stated number of time in his interview, most important quality of an investor is temperament. That's one of the major thing, not the intellect. That's what I would say. That's one of the key important factor in investing in stock. So we will see a little bit later on with this specific statement and why he's suggesting that. So we don't need, we don't have to be smarter than rest. We have to be more disciplined than the rest. It's attached to that such kind of thing that you are investing in some serious concern where you want to earn something, and it does not like that you should be smarter or you should be very intellectual. It's you should be more disciplined. That talks about again the temperament of the person who is investing. Margin of the safety, you should need to care while investing with the margin of safety. So that is regarding Warren Buffett, what he said. He said a lot many time in a different interviews, shared his different number of experience to people. So how they will invest in the stock market to get or attain maximum. Right now, he is the world fifth of the world in the wealthiest person list, and his worth is around 124.3 billion USD. So if I move to next person, another person experience I would like to share with you so that you can know that what stock market can deliver to you. So Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch is one of the investor. He started in 1997 with Fidelity, one of the company of the investment. There are a number of companies which invest in stocks. So some people believe they go in that way, that they invest in the company or give the fund to the company, and then the company invest on their behalf, and later on they use their own personal analysis and return to a some kind of fixed amount or interest amount that you would achieve. Or they usually say that it could be the profitability which we're going to share with you guys depending upon what we have achieved. So his experience is one of the most important that we can learn from his style of investment. What he did to that company, he invested $18 million in 1977, and after 13 years in 1999, his company worth is around $14 billion. That's around 10,000 time or 8,000 time of that investment in 13 years, which is a lot. So he talks what he said in his most of the interview. Stock aren't the lottery ticket. Behind every stock, if company do well, over the time stock do well. So that's something relates that company performance. That's important. Then he said, becoming rich, just look around. What does it meant by his experience that he was saying to or talking to public and saying that in his interview that in 1997 Gap is one of the brand, and he was seeing that his three girls was wearing the Gap outfit, and once he's visiting the market, he's just looking around that how many people in comparison to other brands visiting Gap. So what he just take a look at that around his surrounding, and he just makes sure that okay, Gap is getting a lot much public in comparison to other. He looked the stock price of Gap at that time. He didn't invested in that one, and later on, what happened that the Gap share price goes 7x time of that price once he started covering the Gap, but he didn't invest in that. Then in next year, what he did, he checked what his three girls are start wearing. That was the Body Shop, and he goes to Body Shop outlet, try to look at that whether people are following Body Shop or not, and he just compare in the same manner what he did for Gap, and he found that Body Shop is one of the item which he can invest, and he suggested his company, and what he asked his company to invest in Body Shop share, and what happened around 4x time the Body Shop price in 1 year. So basically, till now, I given two of the investors which are the most famous of the world in their stock market working. So they both talk about the patience your work, your surrounding look, and then you invest in such kind of stock which have very good solid footing. Like Gap got a lot many company outlets, and then he decided to, even though he didn't decide it, he just looked at it around to see that whether his study is good enough to continue investing in that one. And later on he looked for Body Shop, and then he looked around that how much its wealth is around. One more thing I would like to add here regarding Warren Buffett. At age of 18, he was saying that he just used to read the investment statement which published in the most of the business newspaper. And for company statement, it does tell him that okay, whether the company is doing good or what is their prospective, what they have in their stock, and is it the running item or not. So it's if the company is worth enough to stay on for 5 to 10 years. So what we found from out of those both of people, that stay calm while investing and look for the proper and good solid company rather than go and pick one of the baddest one. So these are the current people and the public node people that who's investing in the stock. So can we move to next slide? So in our traditional market, if we usually say that people bring up their goods in big cities and goes to the market and find out that whether to find out their product price, and they usually ask one of the person who is the concerned person from the market and tell him that that we want to sell it, and then start bidding in the morning or specific time at that market open, and people comes and buy the things. So here's the we identify that in our traditional market that we required one interpreter, one marketplace, one buyer, and one seller. So that's what today's comes into play while in technology world. So this was the previous market, and now we can move to our today's market and compare and then see how to get that invest in today's year. So can you move to next slide? So first of all, we need to know what is stock. What are stocks? So stocks are like that. If I build up one company of $10 billion, so what I decided that, okay, I need to get investment from people or shrink my investment so that I can reinvest in a different thing. So, or I can distribute the ownership. So getting a stock of any company, what I will do, I will distribute a base value to my company total worth. If I got a total worth of $10 billion, so I decided that $10 is a one stock price. So it's mean around 1 billion stocks I can issue to the public, where I can give it to my son, give it to my, if I want to go within distributing the ownership in my family, I can give it in that manner. Okay, $10 billion, 1 billion stock of that one, I give it to 10 million to one of my son, and later on distributing to other my family members. This is one of the way to distributing stock. But in that case, if I get money from my family, that's mean I am claiming whole company for my family. Then what we talk here, that people companies come in the stock market and they identify the worth of their stock and then distribute that stock to the common public. The purpose of issuing a stock to bring up or brought up the money to the company, and whether they want to extend their operation, they want a finance to run, they want to have a good footing to reduce their profit margin or reduce their risk as well. So that's the purpose of issuing stock. So if we move to next slide. Why does company issue stock? So I already explained some of bit of that. Issuing stocks is distributing the ownership, and at some point every company need to raise some money. So I already told you, either they can go to borrowing option or they can sell their own ownership and get something out of that money that they have raised from initial public offering, which we might talk in the next slide. So if we can move to next slide. So what does this shareholder get out of that deal? So take a look at that. I have given you one of the example that I have got a company and around 10 billion of that worth. I present and model to one of my investor and tell him that if he invests with me, what I will give that if he's investing around 25% of in my company, I will give the 25% of shares of my company. And later on, what happens, whatever the profit comes in, we will decide together to share the profit according to our shareholding. So that's mean if you are investing in the company, that company, if it's good, that company gonna share the profit with the shareholder. That's the basic purpose of investment. So if the company does well, stock probably. So the another way around, that is one thing that I am investing 25%, or I am asking one of the investor to invest 25% of stake uh, in my stock. So I can see there are some of the, now I think it's just I will address the questions later on once there is a question answer session. I have seen one of the people are saying, talking about the crypto. We will move to that one as well. And any questions regarding the current stock market, I will let you know. So let's first of all complete the slide session, and then we will take the question. So in case of getting out of that, that's mean that we are getting some profit in case of what we have earned. And this is what the people get. On our next slide, what I am telling you, that initial public offering. Basically, there are, what I have till now explained, that I agree with one of the company and tell him that, okay, invest with me. That's something that private partnership. I asked one of the company to invest in my company. That's I'm asking some of the company to have a shareholding with me in my company. So I thought it's not good to have a bigger shareholder with me. I can have public with me. So that in that case, I would like to have my shareholding. I offer the initial public offering, so that in that case, I would like to have my authority rights with me, or authoritarian shares with me, so that I can decide, and I can have the board of director from the public who's holding more shares than it is required according to the expectation of the stock market. More than 10%, then a directorship can be given. So what I do, I would like to offer that to public. So I would build a prospectus. What a prospectus will have the annual reports. Prospectus will have the what product we are building, what is our manufacturing thing, what is our the final product, what we do. It's all talks about that what we have performed over the last few years. That's mean a new company cannot get into the stocks easily. They required very good solid footing around 2 to 3 years of the graph, what it tells to the public that this is what we are offering. And then people gets in, and I will do a roadshow, market briefing, and then plan for an IPO according to the stock market rule. That's initial public offering, where I can fix the price according to the auditor, that okay, this company worth of around $10 with a per share price, that to be launched. So once it's the fixed base price has been fixed, then it a day will be decided regarding the. Can we move to next slide? So till now we talks about little bit of profit. Once people invest in that one, what that profit is called. So take a look at that. If I have been offering the public. I have done initial public offering my company. So later on, after the worth is being decided by auditor in the prospectus in the whole process of $10 for my share, my company share. So what happened later on, after every quarter, I was publishing my balance sheet to the public that okay, your company have done this much. This much profitability after 3 months or loss as well. So whatever happened in the last 3 months, I have shared that to the public. And once I found that okay, I have earned $1 per share, I can distribute some of the profit to my shareholder. That could be a few cents, that could be $1 completely. So it's depend upon my strategy, what I go on, or the board of directors strategy. So this is called as a dividend. So can we move to next one? So one way to get earning from the dividend, the other way to get earning from the stock is the capital gain. So you or me offering the stock, my company stock to the public of $10. Later on, my company performed in that manner that it was earning $1 per quarter, which is $4 a year. Once we found that, and people start analyzing and they think that it should its stock worth should be more than $10 because it's earning around 40% of their capital what they are offered. So they probably they will the demand of the stock will increase in the stock market, and the people start taking that price taking the stock more than the $10, and then the price will go on. If my company start performing well, the price will go on. So there are rumors, speculation which can take the price up, like if current country situation all of above, it's become like if I take an example that Ukraine Russia war, what it can affect. Ukraine offered to the world one of the major stakeholders for a wheat to be distributed in the world. So if Ukraine Russia war go on, the inflation or the price for the wheat go up. That's mean if somebody like to invest in a food sector, it will be expected that food price goes up. But if my company, which is handling the food stuff in my country on which I have invested, if they did not wisely act according to the food inflation price, it can hamper to negative. And if my company capitalize in a good manner, it can go, it can give a good profitability with the holding of stock and stock to my own company inside for that food stuff, and my stock price can go up. So that's what the things or geopolitical situation can impact to your stock. So these are called rumors that once something like Ukraine Russia war, the crude oil price is going up. In that case, what happened? That every country is getting with the oil prices and in expensive way, in expensive price. So in that case, the oil companies can do better. Why? Because their margin can go increase, and later on, what happens that they can do better in the earning. Although war is not good for anything. So we can move to next thing. So I talk about the capital gain. So making and losing money. In case of making and losing money, I told you two way that capital gain and the dividend. The third way, if we start losing money, how we can do that? So in most of the stock market, the stock brokers, stock organizations offer you, if I invest $100,000 in one of the company, and later on what I have been given from the stock brokerage company that they can give us a financing facility, borrowing facility. If I investing $100,000, they are allowing me to invest around $500,000. In that case, what happened? Whatever the stock I am getting, they start charging the borrowing fee, the commission fee, and the borrowing fee, because I am holding some stock on their money. In that case, if I have does not have the power to hold that stock for longer, and the stock price goes down, this company can charge me interest the borrowing fee, and they, in that case, they will ask me to sell out before I go out of limit. So it's always suggested to invest your own money rather than do borrowing or financing from any institution, because what happens that stock is always healthy, that if you do done a very good study, then you will be very successful in few year time. Remember, it's never a small time investment, or it's never a quick investment. So sorry, I think the link got broken, so I just switched to my other connection. So, so what I was talking about, that if we are thinking to losing of money, that's mean. Can we move to next slide? I think I have covered that one. So how we should make money? It's always recommended. I have given you two of the biggest investor of the world. I have given you the example of that. They talks about the long-term strategy. They talks about the putting this investment in the stock for long term rather than just picking up for few days. Because if you go with a day trader strategy, which usually called as a day trader, then you will might gonna lose the money, and in few cases you might get some benefit, but it will be very rare that if the news vanish, then you might get receive the loss in that case. So that's it's talk about the long investment, always having a good strategy and putting the money in the solid script. Can we move to next one? So there are two kind of stock. One is in investment or income stock, which is called as an income stock, on which the price does not move a lot. It's just an income. The company strategy, whatever they earn, uh, they they just shared it to their stakeholder or shareholder, and with a regular income of every quarter. So these are called an income stock, and some of the are growth stock, which increase in price, and sometimes they gives profit as well in case of dividend. But the dividend is not the priority. Their projects, their new things are more important. Their growth is more important. In that case, their price usually increase. So that's called growth stock. Can we move to next one? So ownership of a company, I already given you some kind of detail regarding the ownership. If any person goes in the initial public offering, he become an owner. But how the ownership and the company controls, to who can control the company. So they are in stock market rules that if somebody have a 30% of stakeholding, they can control the company decision, or they can control the company whole operation. So that's something talks about 50%. Some market talks about 30%, and depends upon that how much diversified that the company is. That's important. So if we move to next one. So how we can trade a stock? Trading a stock, we require a stock market. That is what in traditional market we require a market to sell out our things. So if any company wants to get an investor, they will go into a stock market, present themselves through an IPO, full auction method, building a prospective, showing the profitability statement, and then doing the roadshow. So they will be looking for that stock market to sell out their stocks, and then we would require a market from buy those stock if we are an investor. So in that case, we will have to get access to that stock market. Right now, if we talk about internationally, Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange, this big name, one of them is physically located and one is virtually. So that's mean that technology comes into play, and that's people are sitting in their home and they are investing in the stock market throughout the world, sitting in home. So that's mean we required a stock market where stock need to be traded. Can we move to next slide? So stock market got some kind of key player. If we was talking to traditional market, there was an interpreter, market, buyer, seller. So if we talks here, stock market got a stock broker. We usually heard the name of stockbroker. Then the brokerage companies. So brokerage company does offer more capabilities. They do trading in number of different stock together. Stockbroker are usually associated with one of the company, one of the stock market. Like in Pakistan, there is a Pakistan stock market. Then in Malaysia, there is a Bursa market, and in that case, the stockbroker directly associated to that brokerage firm offer you such kind of application in which you can trade to different stocks market. And then there is a day trader. Day trader usually called like my kind of person or your kind of person. If you are investing, that you go and you put amount in your account, and later on you get that invested in one of the stock virtually. And then the stocks is available in your account. Could be physically considered as your ownership, because some of the authority party will be controlling that your account. Authority party who's been signed off from one of your government. Like in Pakistan, there is one of the authority party who's controlling all of this stuff. Can we move to next slide?
Hello, sir. Excuse me, Mr. Ahmad.
Yes.
Can you go back to the previous slide because your line is breaking? Is that okay with you? Can you fix your
Sorry.
line? Your line is breaking. Can you go back to the previous slide? Is it okay if you explain again the previous slide?
Okay, let me take that.
Sorry, everyone. We'll be back.
So is it fine now?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, yeah, you're good, sir.
Okay, fine. So I just back to my
Can can you
laptop. Sorry. Regarding ownership, what was I was talking about, that ownership of a company is talks about that who's holding the person, or who's the company, who's the body who can control that company once the initial public offering is done. If I sell out around 49% of my shares to market, and then in that case remaining 51 is with me, it's depend upon the stock market rule. Usually in most of the companies it's around 30% shareholding. If the company is more diversified, around 50% is the ideal one, because you need to have the 50% to get things done in a good manner. So that talks about that who is controlling, who can make the decision in the initial public offering company. So if we can move to next one. So where stock is being traded, stock has been trading, as I given you example, that in traditional market example, that somebody brings their goods in a market, and one of the interpreters start making the bidding of that product, and then according to the seller requirement, and then one of the buyer comes around, and if he thinks that it's good price to buy it, they usually buy it. What they does in that case, uh, we required a market where company can come and publish their IPO, and then people can get in and buy the uh, that stock of that company. So in that case, there are many markets available. Talks about the biggest market, Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange. Nasdaq is a virtual market where this physical body is not exist. In that case, what happened? That's uh, mostly regarding uh, building a system and delivering it to the people who want to invest, and then adding funds to that specific account which is attached to that market. And then what happened, that you can buy any stock from the market depending on your own study, or depending on what you have gained. So can we move to next slide? So I talk about that interpreter in traditional market who's selling that, and then buyer and seller, and then a marketplace. So here, what I found, that there are stock traded. There are three kind of bodies. One is stockbroker, who is licensed to one of the stock market attached to the, and when one is the brokerage firm, which is specialized in the stock trading, which requires that, which might be connected number of stockbroker for different stock markets, and you can get the application from the board brokerage firm and invest in a different market in the world throughout in any other country where that brokerage firms trades two, three, four, five, or number of different countries. Then a day trader like me, if I get an account to any stock market, and then I can invest on daily basis, or I can invest on long term basis. So can we move to next one? So there are two things we hear in the public, that bull market and bear market. It's talks about when market increase, it talks about bull market. One market When market decrease, it talks, we usually say bear market. It's why it's been called, it's bull market. Bull usually attacks any person from upside, so that's why it's called bull market. So bear market is called once bear attacks from the downside, so that's why once the market go down, it's talks the bear market. Can we move to next one? So understanding of stock, we need to understand the base value. I given you one of the example that if my company is 10 billion worth, I can issue one with a $10 every share. Then it's mean my company can issue 1 billion of shares for my company. So in total, that's mean my base value of my company share is 10 USD, and total shares available is 1 billion, and my capitalization for that company before issuing stock, so that's around 10 billion. So that's the base value or par value we usually talks about. Can we move to next one? So in any case, the dividend, bonus share, and right share, there are three terminology. Once I am earning profit, I can issue to the public, and I can get that distributed to my shareholder. If $10 worth a share, we earn $1 each quarter. I have given you example. I can distribute $1 to my stakeholder. That's called dividend. If I think that I don't have money a lot with me, the money I am investing some other thing, I can go for a split stock. Might be giving a profit to shareholder that I can just distribute 10% of bonus share to my company. Like take an example. My company was earning $1 per quarter, and later on after 4 quarter I found $4. So my company share trading right now is $15 a worth, which was issued 1 year back, around $10. And with the earning, with the speculation, my price has gone around $15 per share. So what I did, to give the benefit, as I do not want to distribute the money, I issues the bonus shares. In that case, bonus shares is being issued with some specific date. If I say that the people hold the share till that date, after that date, if somebody is holding that share on 30th of April to 2020, then it will be issued 20% of the shares, total shares what he have. So after a few days, the 20% of shares is being delivered to the shareholder. In that case, what happened if my share price was $15 and 20% is more added to that one? Then what happened that 20% price will go down on next day, because the price of share will not increase anyway unless whatever the holding on that day, on the 30th April, on the price of that day on 30th April, on 1st of May, the price will go down and distribute to 120 share if I am holding 100 share. So this is how the bonus share been calculated. Then the right share, somehow, next slide, can you move to next slide? Somehow I think that if the my company required more funds and my share is trading around 11 rupees, $11, so I think that okay, I can issue more stocks to my company, raise some money from the public rather than raising it from bank, so I can invest to the different project and get my company expansion. So in that case, usually called right share. If I issue 25% of right share on my 100 share, the dollar worth of basic $10. So in that case, what happened that if my company share trading on 11 rupees, what is the difference between that? Whole price will be distributed to all 125%, 125 share, and the price will go down on next day. But what happens that right share will be issued in few days to the people, and they will pay the price for new right share. So in that case, company will raise money and reinvest. Can you move to next slide? So opening a account, we can open an account with any stockbroker, with any stock brokerage firm. They will give you an application from where you can transfer money from to their brokerage account, and then they can show that virtual funds in your account, and then you can start purchasing and placing the order. Can we move to next one? So talking about the digital currency, people talks a lot about digital currency. Right now, we move from the plastic industry to the to one of these other currency names as a digital currency. So in start, we was having the coins, then we go into rupee or notes, and then after notes, we are moved to plastic industry, which is the credit card and debit card. Then from plastic industry, we move to digital industry. If we talks about the debit card, people does not accept in start, but now they are accepting. Everyone is using debit and credit card, but they don't see money right now. They just swap their card and money is deducted from their account. So it's all things happening in virtual. And moving forward in future, we will see the digital currency make it more virtual, that you will just give your Bitcoin account and scan your application, and Bitcoin amount is being deducted on your from your application. So in here as well, we required one of the exchange, which is not stock exchange, which is exchange. If we talk about that world, right now world have many exchanges registered with their different entities. Right now government are not accepting. Why? Because there are few drawbacks with that one. But first of all, we think that what is Bitcoin? It is peer-to-peer transaction. Peer-to-peer transaction. Why it's been introduced in the world? Let me give you one example. If I invest or I place my funds in one of the bank, and later on the bank goes in bankruptcy, and they just the bank has been got a disaster, and it's no more in the world. In that case, what happened? My funds will be stuck with the bank, and if bank will recover, then they're gonna pay some of that, or the insurance amount or insurance company gonna pay me. So that's something very fearful, and that's brought up the Bitcoin strategy, where you control the funds with peer-to-peer strategy. Peer-to-peer means that in your own wallet the funds will be there, and that's why it's been introduced. Peer-to-peer mean the funds transaction need to be happen with some of the tools, and that tools is introduced blockchain technology behind the scene. And for blockchain technology, they called the Bitcoin mining, the peer-to-peer transaction. You make your system available after opening an account, and then from your system power being used, and transaction being happen to the other way. Worldwide payment help through Bitcoin, low processing fees, and very fast to process. These are some of the benefits of the Bitcoin. But down the line, there are drawbacks. No authority is taking responsibility. Illegal money is a lot much in it. Extreme volatile, because sometimes it goes up in few seconds, and sometimes it goes down in very few seconds, because no authority is there, no rules is there. Every exchange, like Binance exchange, like Coinbase, they have their own rule set. And then no taxation is there, so nobody is asking where money coming from. So these are things are there. But what is behind that? Every digital currency have some concept, otherwise it cannot work. Like stock market have, the companies are asking for stock, is have some concept behind them that they are doing. If I pick up one of the stock market example, one of the companies Shell, they are doing the oil marketing. So in that case, they are selling the oil. So all the companies like Ripple is one of the digital currency. Its purpose to do the settlement for all the banks. So their project was that to do the settlement transaction for all the banks, so that funds should not move. People have the ripples, or if the bank have the ripple, they just transfer the fund, ripples in case of Ripple, and the other bank accept that, okay, these many ripple we have, and this worth money already transferred to us. So this is the criteria. Then more technology comes into play, like Cardano is one of the digital currency. They ask to have that you can get interest. That's more kind of you can get interest if you invest in that company, hold the Cardano, and they invest the Cardano in one of the interest based application down the line, because your fund is there in the exchange. And then once you purchase the Cardano, and then they distribute the profit to the stakeholder. It's more kind of the concept, and then implementing that currency. Now the time will come, the government and authorities will take over. Because why I usually think of that? Because moving the world towards the future is more towards the digital currency, and more towards the paperless environment, and then swift and fast transaction making. And then this is talks about the digital currency, and this is the last slide, I think. Can we move to the next one and take the question from the people? So Andrew, can you share me the questions?
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Hamad, for the presentation. That was a very good presentation about the stock market and trading globally. As we can see, it was such an interesting
Andrew, I
topic,
cannot
and we
see
have so
you.
many questions. We have so many questions from our viewers, so I'll go with the first question from Mr. Shazai Iqbal. So he says, "Sir, can we trade cryptocurrency on stock market?" Mr. Ahmad, hello. Okay, sorry. So he'll be right back. Please, guys, can you keep on sharing your comments and questions? Mr. Ahmad will get back and answer all your questions.
So,
Yeah, there he
so
is.
in case of cryptocurrency that's not being traded in stock market. Stock market is a legal entity. That's every country have their own regulation.
Sorry, his network is not really good, facing technical technical difficulties. He'll be back soon. Keep sharing your questions, guys. Keep shooting. We'll ask him when he get right back. Information. I hope you guys have enjoyed the webinar. Oh, Ahmad is back. Okay.
Okay, so I joined from
Okay.
this media, different channel. So in case of stock market, what I'm talking about, that cryptocurrency cannot be traded in stock market right now. Why? Because cryptocurrency is not being accepted by different countries.
Uh, okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We acknowledge all the comments and all the compliments. Thank you. We appreciate that. Please keep sharing what you have about the webinar, what you think about it. If you have more questions, Mr. Ahmad is really having some technical difficulties. I think his network is not really good, but he's gonna get back soon. Thank you. Keep sharing, guys. Even though we won't be able to, if we won't be able to answer all their questions today, I think we can still maybe share answers on the comment chat later on. We'll give them to Mr. Ahmad and he will answer each and every of your questions. So keep sharing, keep commenting, keep complimenting. Are you good now, sir?
Yes, I think I'm good now.
Okay, okay.
Sorry for that.
All right, it's all right, no problem.
So, what I was telling about regarding cryptocurrency, that cryptocurrency is accepted, not being given an authority to be traded in stock market. Most of the country which who approves the cryptocurrency, they talks about the exchanges like Binance, like Bitcoin, like Coinbase. These are the famous crypto exchanges where you can open an account and get your cryptocurrency trading started. But it's all that most of the governments not taking the responsibility right now with the cryptocurrency. So next question, Andrew.
Okay, thank you. I hope Shazab has got the concept and other people. So the next question says, it's from EJ Cole. How can a new investor decide which company to choose for investing?
I given one of the example in case of Warren Buffett. At age of 10, what does that he goes to library and used to study one of the business newspaper, and that every newspaper usually cover different companies financial statement. And it's very simple that you start looking in a stock market. Every company which is registered in a stock market publish their financial statement for public. Then you just read it out. If the company is performing well in profit from last couple of months or a couple of years, because you can have that availability for that company outlook from last few years. And once you go to that stock market, you will find all that stuff. And once you identify that, okay, the sector is good, like it's an oil sector, the company is doing well from last few years, and their management look like that they are positive with their objective, then you can decide to invest in that one.
Okay, thank you. I hope EJ Cole has got a concept about that. So XA Nov is asking, what are the benefits of having a public, limited, or listed company?
Public limited, usually it's usually that you do not give share to the public, but it's considered as a public limited that you are having 2, 3, 4, 5 or 10 in big investors. But public listed, where every single person, where I can go and get one share of one of the company. So in that case, benefit of listing a company, that giving access to the general public. In that case, people can diversify their shares, number of stocks, and then monopoly, or you can say that um, uh, uh, problematic and hedging and a stock will be difficult, because public is holding most of this stock.
Okay, thank you, sir. So Michael is asking, he's saying that he has read a book, said that investing in stock is a way to make passive income. How does it work actually?
So passive income, usually you can say that if you are going with the long term, that you are just put in money and wait for things to happen and the price to go up. So that's something where you make your breakup value for your profit. If you look for a bigger thing and you done your analysis in a good manner, then you can go for a longer term. Like, take an example that I invested a few years back in one of the textile company which is performing very well. I invested only $100, and later on, after 1.5 year, I got around $700. That's around 600 times multiplier. So that depends that how you think and what is your strategy to feel like. I thought about that specific company, that okay, it's earning right now from last few years is very good, and with that kind of earning, the other companies was trading around $700. And my outlook is that to have around $100. So uh, if people start looking towards that and that company start posting good dividends, then it automatically goes up. And I just read their director statement and then found that it's a good company to invest. So it can be passive, it can be active as well. That if I go with that company, like geopolitical situation, I can geopolitical situation, that crude oil prices going up, Russia and Ukraine war, as I told you guys. So if I just look into that, the war gonna end in next few months, then the price will ease down as well. So it's depend how you strategize your investment. Mostly it's called as passive.
Okay, thank you, sir. That was a great insight. Next question, please. So Tatsuya is asking, Can index funds be a recommended choice for novice investors?
And
The inter-
our stock market, how the stock market is performed, basically, sorry, so how the stock market has been performed, so depends upon that the stock market strategy, and depend upon the stock market handling companies. If they are wasting the money in some, it's all depends that if my fund is making good decision, like I have given you one of the fund investor or the fund analyst, Peter Lynch example. If he picks the correct company, the index fund will perform. If he I pick some of the wrong company, which goes in the disaster, then my fund cannot be performed. So you need to keep an eye for your money to that company.
okay, thank you. So Asiaf Azmi is asking, what is your view on the current market?
So current market point of view, in specific case, like crude oil has gone up, and then commodity prices like food inflation comes into hit the market as well, because that will engage whole Europe and down the line the America as well. So probably we can see the price raise and inflation come into play. In that case, what happens? I can capitalize on my stock. Like I am having a lot of crude oil stock in my company, and all of a sudden crude oil price goes up. What it's gonna give me? It's gonna give me benefit. So overall, talking to market, we are heading towards a bad inflation time. And if my company is very serious and they know that we can capitalize with the profit margin and the things other.
Okay, thank you for the answer, sir. We'll go to another question from Lee. Lee is asking, what do you think of cryptocurrency? Is it suitable for people who are new investors to invest?
See, depends that how the new investor comes and how he want to play. If he just go with the rumors, like people says that people talks and big investor talks that Bitcoin gonna hit $100,000, and when it's gonna hit, nobody knows. And if he has a patient, he can invest and get one Bitcoin and wait for $1,000 to be hit. And depending that the governments of different country allow Bitcoin to be approved, such kind of news can take the Bitcoin up, and then the demand of the investor increase once the government gonna approve that. But how and when, it's a question mark. But in case of stock market, it's altogether different, because stock market is a legal place where people can invest and get money. So
Thank
it's
you.
all
Thank
to
you.
about the patience. And in case of crypto, it's as I told you that it's very volatile. So you need to be very patient in any kind of investment and make sure the company is good.
Okay, Mr. Exinov has another question which says, when we invest in stock, is our money insured or it's all on risk?
See, most of, or I would say 99% of the stock market has been authorized and been operated by, been regulated by their country authorization parties and regulators, by the country regulator. So if any stockbrokers or the stock brokerage company which is being associated to that stock market, if that goes in the bankruptcy, then the insurance money being, or whatever the investment you have made, that that will be refunded. But depending how the rules of that company or country have for that stock market. So
Thank,
in case of investing in stock market is very secure.
all right, thank you. Okay. A question from Jet. What is your advice for those who want to enter stock market?
Look for an IPO, initial public offering, and if you don't want to wait for an IPO, you will go for a oil stock right now, because oil company gonna earn in a very good manner, because the oil crude oil prices continue to rise, and whatever the stock they have in their own bucket, that price will go up automatically.
Okay, thank you. Okay, one last question from the audience. Can you introduce some information on how hedge fund works?
So in case of covering hedge funds, we have number of funds entity like mutual fund, hedge funds, and they have their own strategy depending that how they want to invest. Some of the mutual funds are Islamic religious based. They go with that kind of strategy that they think that okay, we will only investing in Islamic items, and they will not only think to invest in stock. They will go to invest in property as well. They will go to invest in stock as well. So these are the different criteria that they usually use. So you need to identify what your hedge fund or mutual fund is doing and how their strategy is. Then you go and invest. It's more kind of giving money to someone else and make yourself more safe. But if that hedge fund or mutual fund does not have a good strategy, then your money also on stake and you are not earning what you are expected to earn.
All right. Thank you, sir. I think those are enough questions for the um, enough question from the audience. And sorry, I have one last question from me and my team, my colleagues. Uh,
Okay.
can you list down at least five best stocks that, as a beginner, should or can invest to get a good return for this year?
Depending on which stock market you want to list, I've given you one of the best ever sector. That's oil sector. Oil sector, there are sectors in the stock market in which such kind of companies are performing. If you go with the oil sector, right now oil is going up. If you go and look the oil sector company in your own stock, in your own country stock market, you will see that which company is performing well. Take a look at their balance sheet from last couple of years, and then you can decide to invest in that one. In next 6 months, oil stocks and food stocks, depending that food company have very good strategy, will perform outstandingly, as I given you number of reasons for that one.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for the answers. I think
I
every
do apologize for the bad link I have. I'm not sure what happened, and I joined from mobile and try to get that
really,
continue in a good manner, but not sure what happened.
it's okay, sir. No problem. I think the viewers have understood too, and most importantly, they have delivered the good message and knowledge that you have given us. So, also, I would like to to remind our viewers or the audience, please, can you help us to fill the feedback form and get the e-certificate? The link is down there on the comment chat, on the comments. Please, can you all please do that for us? And I would like to thank you, Mr. Hamad, for a good presentation and a good knowledge about the stock market and trading globally. This was such a very good lesson to all of us. And me and my colleagues who have prepared this webinar, we've really learned a lot, and we'll keep on using most of your ideas and the knowledge that you've given us. I would like to I'd like to say this is the end of our webinar. Thank you so much, Mr. Hamad Iqbal, for your time, and thank you so much, our audience, for leaving your other activities and decided to tune in on our webinar. Thank you so much. I would like to thank my team, Miss Alisa and also Saad. And we couldn't do this webinar without the help of our lecturer, Mr. Munir Eswar. So we appreciate that so much, and also by the help of APU in general. Thank you so much, the IT to the IT team and everyone else. Um, I was the moderator for this. And my name is Andrew Paul. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time, guys. Thank you.